Welcome everybody to a very special episode of the CRICKETher Weekly with a difference. Sid and I are away this week getting married and on honeymoon. So we are bringing you a very special interview with Rob Harvey. Many of you who watch this and listen to the CRICKETher Weekly will of course know Rob already. He's a writer on women's cricket and the founder of the website and Facebook group and now on Twitter talking about women's cricket. So Rob, thank you so much for joining us all the way from wherever it is you are in Australia. Would you like to tell us whereabouts you are?
Yeah, Narracourt in South Australia. I'm halfway between between Melbourne and Adelaide. But okay. I'm technically in South Australia, yeah.
Because you're well known for your support of the Strikers in talking about women's cricket.
Well, absolutely. I support everything from Adelaide and South Australia. That's my only bias, I suppose, if you will. I try to remain neutral, but I can't help it with South Australia. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Sid obviously has a strong affinity for the Southern Vipers, so I totally understand.
Yeah.
So when did you first become interested in women's cricket?
Yeah, I knew this was going to be a question. I've been practicing all day. Actually, when I got interested in men's cricket, I was in a family of mainly boys, and I always got dragged out to play cricket in the backyard to make up for the numbers. I was the youngest, and I didn't like it at all. But then one day it just all clicked for me, and being a bookish kid, I just read everything I could about cricket, and I happened upon this player called Betty Wilson, and I thought, gee whiz, 100 and a hat-trick in the same test match, that's pretty cool. I don't know anyone that's done that. And so I've kept an eye on women's cricket ever since then, so from about the age of 10, I suppose. But of course it's not easy because it was never in the media, it's never accessible. It's not like today where you can see women's cricket everywhere. You really had to go fossicking to find stuff about it back then.
And so was that why you decided to start writing about it?
No. No. I'd written a book. I'd had two failed books, and I thought, okay, you need to put a little bit more intelligence into this. So I thought, why not write a series? And, if you're going to write a series about something, do it about something you like and you have some knowledge of. And so I thought, what about Test cricket captains? No one's written about that before. And so I wrote the book about the Indian captains, and I was getting ready to write about the Pakistani ones when I thought, I reckon I could probably slip the women's cricket one in just in time for Christmas and then get back to the men's cricket after that. And that's kind of doing something for women's cricket and, getting back to the other stuff. But I never got back to the other stuff. I've stayed with women's cricket ever since.
The book is, of course, From Peden to Haynes, Australia's Women Test Captains. Where can people buy it? Do you want to give it a plug?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm about to, don't buy it today. I'm about to relaunch it because I think the last time I republished it was in 2019. So I think I've got the India series just gone and the Ashes. So give me a couple of weeks, but you can buy it on Amazon, and I'm about to release it on Kindle as well. So you can get it in paperback or ebook.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's the book.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to set up talking about women's cricket? Because obviously Sid and I really enjoy interacting with the group, especially on Facebook, and there's so many diverse members and like so many kind of big names of the game as well. It's so exciting. So why did you decide to set it up?
It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that it is so diverse, as you say, and we've got some real superstars in the group as well, and that's great. But we've got a lot of up and coming stars too, which I love, and a lot of associate players too, which is just cool. Why did I set it up? I was writing for other groups on Facebook, but I found that quite often a lot of my stuff was sitting next to some fairly inappropriate material without going into any detail. And I thought, okay, look, let's just start a group where we can just make it so it's just about the cricket, and we'll keep it private so we don't have to have any arguments with nutters about how many sixes women do or don't hit, or how fast they bowl, or the boundary ropes. I don't want to have those conversations. Yeah.
I can, but I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
They're boring. And so I grabbed a few good people to hold my hand to start it, because I've never managed a Facebook group before, and I've seen some of the crazy things that happen on Facebook groups, so I was a little bit sensitive. But yeah, I started it, and now if this is Sunday, when you normally broadcast, okay, in 8 days' time, Talk is 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. Very happy about that.
And has it really grown during the pandemic, especially?
While the pandemic was on, it was very convenient because there wasn't as much cricket being played, so I could do more work. But yeah, it's kind of hectic at the moment.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because you seem to be posting there all of the time and also able to watch an incredible amount of women's cricket, much more than Sid and I are able to. So yeah, how do you find the time to post so often?
Posting is a lot easier than watching. For example, I posted about just done a fair bit on the France quad series with France, Austria, Spain, and Jersey. And it was really cool, but I didn't get to see very much of the cricket because it wasn't broadcast like a lot of the associates are through Pitch Vision or the European Cricket Network, and or on YouTube. So I didn't actually get to see very much. So yeah, a lot of that was kind of sketched.
But you're juggling all this with other work, presumably.
I'm juggling all of this, the Facebook, the website, Twitter. Yeah, I'm trying to put out, as I said, I'm trying to relaunch that book. I'm trying to get another one out over the next few months. And then I've done a fair bit of work on the England women captains, and I'd like to get that one out before Christmas if I can. So yeah, it's fairly busy. There's not a day I'm not involved with women's cricket. And as I said, it's a lot easier when there's no cricket on.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll have to get Sid to put that one, to buy that one for me for Christmas. It sounds good.
Yeah, no, yeah, we'll get him to buy you a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some really great stuff that's happening in women's cricket in terms of it growing and the coverage growing. Are there any frustrations for you with what you do?
Oh, that's a question that I need to think about for a moment without giving an inappropriate answer. Yeah, there's plenty of frustrations. There's still a long way to go in so many areas. I think there are some incredibly progressive things happening with women's cricket. Is it happening fast enough for me? No. Is Test cricket happening fast enough? No. I'm puzzled as to why India is touring England just after the Com Games and not playing a Test match. I'm disappointed in that. The time factor is a lame excuse as far as I'm concerned. I don't know who Australia are playing this coming summer. I hope there's a Test match involved. I hope it's someone new. We've never played South Africa, for example, in Test cricket. Maybe a home and away series with them over summer, because it's their summer as well. That could be pretty exciting, because we're not going to see India or England, I don't think. So yeah, associate cricket wise, in my own region of East Asia Pacific, none of our teams have played anything since before COVID. So teams like Papua New Guinea, who are 15th in the world, I want to see these teams back on the park. Indonesia, South Korea, Japan, Vanuatu. I want my region, shining as well, because there are so many good things happening in Europe, in Africa. They're getting moving in the Americas. So, come on, here at home. Come on.
Australian world dominance isn't good enough for you?
Well, I know you guys talk about that a lot, you and Sid, and it's a constant source of frustration for you. I think that it's great that there is a team that's dominant and that they are setting the benchmark. And I love watching the Australian cricketers play. I think they're just brilliant. I love the batting of Haynes, Mooney, and Lanning. I think they're just outstanding. And if the other teams want to step up, then watch them. and watch them hit singles. Watch them rotate the strike. It's not all about sixes. And the Aussie fielding is just incredible. I love it, and I wish the other teams would catch up there as well, because I do see some, shoddy fielding from quite a few teams. And there are two areas I'd like to pick up on women's cricket. One is the fielding in general, because there's some really fantastic stuff, but some of the teams are a bit ordinary. And the extras, for goodness sake. No balls and wides. It drives me nuts. Yeah, I saw in one of the games in the recent series, one of the teams bowled, I think, 53 wides and no balls, and that's tough. You talk about wanting to improve your batting in the strike in the power play. If you got rid of giving the opposition 50 runs, you wouldn't need to score so many runs in the power play. So I'd like to see that improved in the game. Yeah.
I'm guessing you really enjoyed watching England in those first few matches in the World Cup then.
Yeah, that was a really good World Cup. I loved watching that. There were so many fantastic games. I loved the way the West Indies started, but was disappointed with the way they finished. Bangladesh, wow, they just came. They hadn't played anything until a few months ago for 2 years, and they just hit the ground running. They were brilliant. And yeah, no surprises, the Aussies won.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic tournament. Although I have to say, to admit to some relief when it ended, because obviously it was totally the wrong time zone for us. But
I understand. And then it was in my time zone, but it was every single day. There was no day off. It's like, and double headers, and it was like, oh, can I just have a day without the cricket, just to catch up, some watching or something?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? And I guess you'll be no stranger to sleepless nights up watching cricket, even if it's just following scorecards.
Some of it's just following the scorecard. Look, I really wish I had been able to see that France quad series, because it gives you a real sense of how these teams are going. Jersey hasn't played for a couple of years. Gee, they were great, and they're just teenagers. These kids are just teenagers, and they're just killing it. Same as the UAE when they played Hong Kong. They're kids, and they're killing it. So very exciting, and it's exciting to see new teams like Spain jump on, and they're going to do okay. Spain, yeah. So I'm disappointed I couldn't see that one. The Fair Break tournament is on a channel that is so hard to locate on my pay TV that I think, look, I'll watch the little mini things they put on Twitter just to give me an idea. It's hard to follow it all at once.
Yeah, which is fantastic, because I guess that is a way that women's cricket has changed since you started writing about it and covering it, that there is so much more cricket played now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, have a look at the next couple of months. You've got, later this month, you've got Sri Lanka visiting Pakistan, and that's going to be a good series to watch. Hopefully a reasonable time zone. Then you've got South Africa in Ireland before they play England. But after South Africa have gone to Ireland, you've got Australia and Pakistan touring Ireland. So that's going to be pretty good. And then sometime in June in Rwanda, the Kwabuka tournament, which is probably the one I'm looking forward to most of all this year. And I mean, that only gets us up to July, for goodness sake. There's some little thing called the Commonwealth Games on in August. And with that, there's all these other little tournaments that keep popping up as well. So it's going to be a very busy few months, and in a good time zone for you, but in a rubbish time zone for me.
Well, c'est la vie. So you've talked about your affinity for South Australia and the strikers. Have you got any particular favourite players?
Oh, do you know what? Do you know what's great about watching all of the different teams around the world? In men's cricket, if England come out here, I want to send them home in an ambulance, right? No question about that. With the women's cricket, it's completely different. I'm actually completely ambivalent about the results, apart from the strikers. So, and because I follow so many different teams and what have you, and I get a great deal of joy out of watching different players perform well. So I got favourite players in every single team around the world. Which is fun. But to give you a direct answer, I've always loved Shooter here from South Australia, Megan Shute. She's a terrific bowler. I love T-Mac as well, McGrath. Amanda Jade Wellington, who I think is head and shoulders the best leg spinner in the world. I love the pack of spin bowlers for Bangladesh. Similarly, Pakistan, Anama Min, Najra Sandhu, they're great to watch. I think the spin bowling in the women's game is just awesome. I'm so in awe of their talent and their guile, their cunning. It's great.
Well, Sid's obviously a big Amanda Jade Wellington fan since she signed for his team in the 100 last year.
Well, finally Sid and I agree on something.
There you go. It was always going to happen eventually, Rob.
Yeah, it had to happen eventually. Yeah, worlds collide. Yeah.
Okay. And where would you like to see the future of talking about women's cricket as a community?
Well, I think it's not going to, as a community on Facebook, it's not going to change too much. It will always remain a private group and a close community, and it's a great community, and I love it. And I won't be making any alterations there. On Twitter, we'll be a little bit more public and a little bit more out there in the open. So I still have my training wheels on there, so still working through that. Shanzai's really leading the charge for us on Twitter. The website's something like 2,500 pages in size now, and that's public. I mean, that's been public for a while. Old web developers trick, just build it live. That way Google robots are working on it. And you know my relationship with robots. And so that's probably the biggest sort of thing for talking about women's cricket, just making sure that the stories that we share in the private group are shared publicly, so that, you know, all of the wonderful cricketers that we write about from the past or the present are given a voice, you know, out there for anyone to see. Yeah.
And if people who are tuning into the CRICKETher Weekly aren't members of that Talking About Women's Cricket Facebook group, how can they join?
No, well, it's not very hard. You just have to look for it on Facebook and then apply to join. And there are a couple of key questions that you need to answer. Is it an African swallow or an Asian swallow? I can't remember. No, they're very easy questions that will identify whether you actually know anything about women's cricket or not. They're the simplest questions in the world, and if you can't answer them, then perhaps best you don't join.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I can really commend the group to all of our viewers and listeners. It's fantastic. It's been great kind of getting to know Rob a bit and getting to know everyone else in the community and having lots of like-minded people to talk about women's cricket with. So I want to say a big thank you, Rob, for setting it up and enabling that community support.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. It's only great because of the members and also contributors like CRICKETher, you know, you and Sid, some other writers like Jay, Crits. You know, it's only as good as the members, and you know, I'm incredibly proud of where it's gone, but we won't be resting. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this special episode of the CRICKETher Weekly. And thank you so much, Rob, for joining us. Bye for now.
And good luck on the honeymoon. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rob.
No worries. All right. Have a great day. Have a great honeymoon. Good luck with everything for you and Sid. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, and